Hello, everyone. This is Grace with Grace on a Journey Channelings. Welcome to the newcomer, and to those of you returning, welcome back. You are loved and valued and appreciated. I'd like to begin with today's channeled song. As I prepared for today's episode, the song, "You Are Everything and Everything Is You," came to me, and I was appreciative of it because that is a song that I love very much. And I was instructed to tell you, those of you that feel connected to that song, to listen to it today, once or twice. Enjoy it and be present in the moment, and it doesn't hurt to dance. Now, as far as today's title is Unlocking the Key into Giving Gratitude. Unlocking the key into giving gratitude. Now, in the past, after the title, I would go in and begin my channeled messages. But I do not work alone, and I'm being advised by my spiritual support team to do things a little differently today. So what you will witness is I'm going to begin by sharing half of the spread. And after I share it, I will give the channeled message. And after I do that, I will give the last part of the spread. Now, that's different. But as I said, I like to be in alignment with what I'm being called to do. And there's a reason for everything. And maybe I don't know what it is at this present moment, but maybe after this episode, I'll realize why I had to make that turn. So, as far as the first pile that I received, it's actually an ancestor message, and it says, changes can bring you new life and energy. We will hold your hand. I'm going to repeat that. Changes can bring you new life and energy. We will hold your hand. And the number on this card is 25. 25 might mean something to someone out there. 25 might also be a number you might want to research and look into it as far as its meaning. Okay? In relation to numerology. The second card is also an ancestor card. It says, we are proud of you and aware of your achievements. We are proud of you and aware of your achievements. So that is an encouraging word for those of you that are breaking generational curses and are leaving toxicity behind and co-creating a life that is no longer dysfunctional. And the number on this card is 38. That might mean something to somebody. So it might relate to you in some way, or it may spark your curiosity. And if it does, I encourage you to do your research, look into it, and discover what 38 means to you. Also, well, before I get into that, let me finish this pile. The next card I received was Fire of Knowledge, Enlightenment. Okay? Fire of Knowledge, Enlightenment. And this motivates me to continue to gain insight in relation to my spiritual walk, and inspires me to continue to be a seeker of truth, and inviting it to assist me in my transformation as I evolve. Now, it may mean something different to you, and that's okay. This is a general reading, and so we will all receive the messages as they are being delivered on a soul level. Okay? So the next card I received is Voice Activation, Angelic Attunement, Divine Support. Those of you that are in doubt because you are just starting your journeys, please be aware that you are not alone. And those of you that need assistance and guidance, encouragement, understand that that's just a prayer away. You are loved, and that is why you are protected. Do not take this type of favor for granted. Be sure to embrace it, because if you ignore it, you lose it. And that's the message that I was told to relay to anyone that finds themselves on this journey but continues to push back the ways that they are being guided to move forward. So consider that today. And it just so happens the next card is prayer, hope. Okay? So that's telling me that in prayer, you find God, right? And when you connect with God, He lights you up with hope. And you have enough hope to share with all those that you encounter. So if you did not know what you have to give, because I'm hearing that some of you question yourselves in your alone time. And some of you beat yourselves up in alone time and say, but what do I have to give? I don't have any talent. I don't know anything. I'm not saying you do this in your circles, because you know we wear masks, correct? But those of you that are still wearing your mask and pretending that you are more than what you are connecting to in your soul, you are being invited to remove the mask and connect with God on an honest level and receive the favor of God today. The next card is inner and outer work. Helps one keep their job, protects against disasters. So my interpretation of this card is that we must maintain a balance of inner and outer work. Many of us focus on the outer work, our appearance, what we look like in our inner circles and in society at large. But many of us neglect the inner work. Now, this point is being made because many of you have been called to live your soul's purpose in whatever direction that God has designed for your life. And because you have this assignment, it's accompanied by an unlimited resource of favor. But what we are being reminded today is too much is given, much is required. Right? So if you know you are called in whatever capacity, you are being encouraged to stop procrastinating and to get on your mark and begin your course. And be confident in the knowledge that you are protected against all disasters. I'm being told to repeat that so that can be solid information that you retain today. Protects against disasters. Okay? No weapon formed against me shall prosper. Claim that awareness and favor today. And the last card in this pile is treasure. And what's interesting about this card is there's a treasure box, right? And it's open. And there is a man standing in front of this treasure box. And he is not impressed with what is inside the box. And the moon in the background is telling me he is uncovering certain secrets that were hidden. The lantern in the background is telling me that he is being given light of the situation at hand. And the fact that the room that he is in is upside down, so to speak, because it's not literally upside down. It's just cluttered and messy, and there are chairs falling down and, baskets falling down and empty closets. The clothes are not hanged up. The clothes are just laying down in bunches, and it's telling me that, a lot has been discovered, and this is the beginning stage of acceptance. Like, wow, this is really what it is, right? And that's not always a good feeling. But why I find this a little ironic is even with that awareness, God is going to deliver encouragement today. And this is by way of those that are serving their soul's purpose and are willing to be open vessels and to share the messages that they receive. Get on your posts and be aligned with your soul's purpose today. So now we will continue with the channeled message that I was given to share. I'm going to remind you Today's title is Unlocking the Key into Giving Gratitude. Unlocking the key into giving gratitude. And what is first coming to me is that many people have a difficulty with writing gratitude lists. And this is something you hear pretty often. Have gratitude and write gratitude lists. Journal them. And I've heard people say, well, the issue I have with gratitude lists is that I would be just repeating the same thing today and tomorrow and the next day, which is thank you for my health. Thank you for my family. Thank you for, my job. Thank you for my stability, security, whatever it is. But that's as far as the list goes. And I'm here to have you consider a different method of giving gratitude. I feel if you would decide to take this opportunity and try something different, that it would benefit you. I love giving gratitude to God and to my spiritual support team, my beloved ancestors, and all those that are serving their soul's purpose to raise the vibration and help others heal. I give back not only by connecting with others, doing podcasts or writing or other artistic avenues that I enjoy participating in. But one of the other ways that I give back is by praying. And when you pray, it is connected to gratitude, right? Because you pray for what you appreciate. So if I am praying on a high vibrational level, and I made this point because I've heard this many times before, and I agree with it, where people say they don't ask people to pray for them. And the reason why is because who are you praying to? Point taken. I said point taken. Who are you praying to? We are all on different paths. And I'm not necessarily in alignment with who you are praying to. I am in alignment with my God of my understanding, right? But even though someone is not asking for your prayer, you are being encouraged, those of you on a high vibration, okay? Let's make that clear. Because sometimes people say, I'll pray for you. And believe me, if you hear the tone they say it in, if you see the gesture, if you pay attention to the windows of their soul, right? Their eyes, you know, child, keep your prayer. I don't need that type of prayer. Okay? I can pray for myself. As a matter of fact, one of the things that I have adopted in my life is very different than what I witnessed as I was growing up, which is I would witness a lot of laying of the hands, like going to prayer meetings and, having someone put their palm on your forehead and praying for you, or on your crown and praying for you. And this was a routine. This is not something you hesitated in doing. In fact, this is something you looked forward to. Okay? But this is also before my awakening, because I have been enlightened to the fact that many people wear masks. Okay? Because someone says, I belong to this team, does not mean that in truth they belong to this team. This also can be taken in the direction of those of you that are in the tradition to connect with those that are taking a spiritual path by name of shaman or spiritual practitioner. There are many names and too long of a list to list them all. But some cultures take different routes. And you are also being advised to beware of who you allow, number one, to pray for you, and number two, to lay their hands on you. That's something I don't play with. Like, if I didn't give you permission, please believe that is a set boundary. Okay? I don't play about it. Because I understand that energy is transferable. And I understand some of the reasons that people want to touch you is to harm you. Yes. Those of you that have been under a rock or are just waking up, this is knowledge that you must know. People can harm you just by shaking your hand. Yes. Just by patting you on the shoulder. Just by giving you a hug. And this is why those of you who were not trained, and I must say it how it is, okay? We're not trained in the areas, the basic areas of how to protect your families. Speaking to the divine feminines out there, do not allow strangers, especially strangers, to come and touch your child, whether it's their crown chakra, whether it's a pinch on the cheek, do I know you? Now, some of you may feel as if that approach is somewhat harsh. And I'll repeat what I always say, which is take what you want and leave the rest. If you want to be an open target, by all means, everybody has choices. But I understand that a lot of people have been attacked in spiritual ways that they're not even aware of. I'll take you back to something I find a little personal, but I have always self-disclosed. And the purpose of doing that is to assist those of you that are really genuine in your dedication to better your lives and to make wiser decisions and so forth. Now, I was at a gathering, okay? And at the time, my child was younger. And there was a woman that came from nowhere. Nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know her. She don't know me. You know what I'm saying? We didn't even say hello, right? And as I was sitting with family and friends, you know, chatting, catching up, this woman comes and touches my child on his head. Immediately. Because first of all, when it happened, it felt off. There's just some type of awareness that is brought to you when something is off. Those of you that are in tune, right? Immediately, I felt something off, and I locked eyes because he was very young. Okay, so he was young and he was sleeping in my arms. So it's not as if I could, do what I would have done had I not have him in my arms. But immediately I locked eyes with another family member, and she sensed it. And she said, you know what? Something ain't right. Something ain't right. She just said it just like that. And mind you, we are surrounded, by many people, meaning whatever you do will get attention, because we were in a setting, even though it wasn't a public place, it was very crowded, and people there were basically in their cliques. This family was here. This friend group was here. This acquaintance group was here. So it's like there's a lot going on. But at the same time, anything out of order would get everyone's attention, right? But it was so evident that this woman came in with malintention to bring harm, that family member said, nope. She just stopped everyone in the conversation. Nope. Something ain't right. And then she looked at my other family member who was standing next to that lady, and believe it or not, yo, that family member got up. Shoot, she don't know the lady don't know her, but it went physical, okay? So she immediately put her hand on my son's head and she placed it back on this lady's head. Whatever you put on this child is returned to sender. You have no right. Yes, that was done. And please believe me, everyone in that auditorium stopped and looked. And the lady was like, I'm not doing anything. Even the reaction was off. You feel me? Because some people would have been like, if she was innocent, most people would have been like, what are you doing? Because she wouldn't even realize she did something wrong. Correct? She wouldn't even realize it. But because she was in the know of what she was doing, right? And she started saying, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. Let me tell you, those of you that have Caribbean roots know to respect people's children. Okay? That's a line you don't cross. Now, I could go into detail, but those who hear, right? And so whatever she put on my child immediately went back to sender. See, my roots go deep. You understand? I'm not who I am by accident. And I wasn't placed in my family by accident. Okay? We are connected for a higher purpose. And so levels of awakening, levels of prophecy, levels of healing, of awareness, of seeing is basically uniform. As a matter of fact, if someone is going to experience some type of ordeal, whether it is positive or negative, it's always 2 or 3 or 4 that gets the announcement. You know, I had this dream, so we need to pray about so-and-so. We need to guide her in this direction. See, that's the favor of God. That communication, that connection. You know what I'm saying? And as you mature, okay, and I say this as I make my own confessions, where There were times when I was given prophecy and I pushed it away. I said, no, you trying to control me. Nope, nope, nope. Because every time you're giving me a prophecy, nope, nope, nope. And believe me, there was a time that I received the word from a family member in love. She gave it to me in love, not in hate. And I did not take heed to her guidance. Child, I've been paying for it for over 6 years. You feel me? Maybe this message is for someone out there who is being given some type of direction, right? In love, not in hate, and not in intention of manipulation. Always consider the source and always confirm it with God. Confirm it with God. That is my advice to you, because there are messages that are warnings. And there are also messages that are triggers. As a matter of fact, I'm being told right now, one of the reasons why I was inspired to share that personal experience with you is because there's one of you out there that needs to protect your child. I'm going to say that again, because somebody out there needs to hear that. There is somebody listening to me on this episode today that was given the opportunity to hear how to protect your child. If someone comes out of nowhere, whether it is to give the child a piece of candy, pinch the cheek of the child. Some of them go as far as rubbing the child's chest, oh, what a cute child. And this, do I know you? Yeah. Sometimes we got to go there, right? And so one of the ways, and the mothers notice, the protective mothers, one of the ways to avoid these types of issues is, having your personal space, whether it is in the supermarket or in the library or at the museum or whatever it is, having your personal and your body language. Like when you're at the supermarket and someone wants to come and just lean on your child and you call the child, hey, come over here. Put your arm around the child or whatever it is. Now, this is not to give you a mindset of living in fear or paranoia. This is to inspire you to make the effort in developing your intuition so You can be alarmed when it is time to be alarmed. Right? There are times when people come in love. There are times when people give your child a compliment or you a compliment, that it comes in sincerity. Okay? Like, I can't help not telling a parent how cute their child is if I encounter somebody with a child that I find adorable. I must say it. Whether it is a child or a puppy or whatever it is, whether it is your outfit even, I love to give compliments. I feel when I connect with you in truth that you needed that energy, right? When I'm being guided to just tell the cashier that seems to be a little worn out, you know that look that they give you? Like they're a little worn out. I even heard a cashier once say, "Oh, I can't wait till 5:00. Like she was ready. She was ready to go home. And me being next, I gave her a moment to vent. And I asked her, "How was your day today? How are you feeling?" You know? And there are times when I make those connections and people are like, "What?" Like, people don't say that. People don't say how are you feeling to just anybody like that. But there are people that God uses to do things that are not so ordinary. And sometimes it's not always comfortable. There was another time when I went to donate some clothes and I saw the truck that was parked next to my car, and the lady, there was sadness around her. And God told me to tell her that He loves her. And even now, He's with her. And people, I felt uncomfortable. And although I'm giggling because I felt uncomfortable due to stereotypical reasons. Okay? These people had a certain look, all right? And they had a certain flag posted on the truck, right? Being in the South, right? Those who know. Because, people have a way of expressing who they are. And sometimes it's even without words. Sometimes it's with accessories. So usually when I see that flag, I'm like, okay. I go the other way. But God told me to tell her that he loves her. And even in that moment, he's there with her. And this lady, let me tell you, she was not overly feminine. I'll just say that. And, a tough appearance, not inviting. But I was being told, you need to tell her this. So, fortunately, I was already in my car. So, I just rolled the window down. And I said, excuse me, I have a message for you. But I want to ask you if I can give you the message. And she said, sure, hon. She responded in a way I didn't even think she would. Right? Sure, hon. What's the message? And I said, God told me to tell you that he loves you. And even right there where you are right now, he is with you. And this lady's face turned red. Have you seen the color red? Because that's red. Okay? And tears just started gushing. And she was trying to tell me something, but she couldn't even tell me because the words couldn't come out. And she was giving me hand gestures like she has to tell me something. She has to tell me something. Wait, she has to tell me something. And I gave her that moment. And she said, I needed that. I really needed that. My sister. It just touched me when she said, my sister. Understand, I had a impression when I noticed that flag. Right? And when she said, my sister, I realized, wow, don't judge a book by its cover. Right? And I needed to hear that. I really needed to hear that. That's going to carry me. And I said, welcome. And that's a moment that happened years ago, people. Nothing recent. But some things that happen are so out of the ordinary that they stay with you for a long time. And maybe I went in this direction because someone is hesitating in doing what they are being called to do. Someone is concerned about how they will be received. And I'm here to tell you that you just have to trust God on this one. You just have to trust God on this one. And you would benefit, right? You would benefit in aligning yourself what you are being guided to do. I'm also being told that guidance is not what's coming from your friend, your sister, your cousin, your coworker. No, no, no. It's coming from your heart. It's something that was downloaded to your heart. Okay? Consider that. Now, I'd like to continue and remind you that we are being guided to give thanks today and every day. And even if you have to take baby steps, thank you for this meal. Thank you for this friend. Thank you for the nice weather. Take those steps. Make the effort. Pray and ask for assistance to get in the spirit of gratitude. Now, some of you are saying, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to give gratitude. Yes, I know others of you are saying, what? They don't know how to give. What you mean you don't know how to? Yeah, not everyone is at your level. We are all on different paths and on different levels. Okay? And giving someone the awareness of gratitude without elaborating on it would be an injustice for those of you that are just encountering that method of giving thanks and being mindful and being in the moment. We are all at different stages when it comes to our spiritual walk. So if you are still puzzled as to how it is that you can develop a spirit of gratitude in your life, my recommendation for you is to research gratitude, right? And be in the mindset of how you would teach gratitude. You heard what I said? How would you teach gratitude to a collective of people? Because I've heard before, the best way to learn any subject, especially if you are preparing for a test. This is not a test. But those of you in school and taking different subjects, the best way to prepare for a test is to learn enough about the material that you have enough understanding to teach it. Records show that if you use this method, you will ace the test. Those of you that are saying, oh, I have a test to take, but I don't know if I'm a pass it. Suppose I fail it. Yeah, if you use this method, it will ease your anxiety. Because you will know you are prepared for this test. Others of you that are saying, why is that so important that I'm actually going to go on Google and look up gratitude? Like, really? Like, I have a life. Yeah, I know there's that bunch too. You think I don't know? And that's why I say, take what you want and leave the rest. Those of you that are serious about evolving on your spiritual path, consider it. Because according to the law of attraction, as you give gratitude, you will receive more things to give gratitude. Do you understand? Is it making sense now? Learn to give gratitude. And I'm not just speaking of God. I'm not just speaking of your spiritual support team. I'm not just speaking about your family. I'm not just speaking about your friends. I'm speaking about when gratitude is due. You feel me? When gratitude is due. Stop reserving your awareness of the efforts given without giving gratitude. Okay? That is one way I give back, right? And for many reasons, I decide to take a more private approach due to certain circumstances that I've been faced with. And nosy bodies that have nothing to do. So there are times when I receive from a spiritual teacher, right? At whatever capacity. Spiritual teachers come in different walks. It could be a doctor. It could be, a reader. It could be a healer, whatever it is. Someone that shared a lecture, whatever it is. I email them, right? There was one time I heard this podcast on, what's the term? It's coming to me. Give me a second. Narcissist. Yes. It's as if this woman was talking about my life. Like, I'm like, are you talking about me? Like, everything she went into, I could relate. I could relate. I could relate. And she brought the awareness that it's not just me thinking of things. It's not just me being overly sensitive. Confirmation. It's really an issue, right? So, again, there were some stereotypes in a different respect, but I still connected with her and sent her an email, and I said, thank you so much for this episode, because let me tell you, it's like you was talking about my life. And the tips that you gave by sharing, how you maneuvered and how you were delivered, okay, made a difference in my thought pattern and will make a difference in confirmation, in my future interactions with others. Right? And it made me feel good. Now, you would think it would just make her feel good, because that was an encouraging word to her. That was also validating that, yeah, you are making a difference, and so forth. But it also made me feel good to give back, to receive and to give. You understand? To experience giving back to who I received from. Try it sometime. Now, when you get really serious about living in gratitude, you may want to consider these steps. The beginning is where you need to start. That would be your childhood. Recall your earliest memory. I'm giving you a moment to do that. Now I want you to be there in that moment, right? Be there in your environment. Be there in your circle. Who's there with you? Be there in the awareness of what it is you are participating in. Be there in the moment as to what feelings, what emotions you are feeling. And now, allow yourself to be in that moment for a moment. What lesson did you learn from that experience? Because as you recollect the lessons from the beginning of your childhood on going to adolescence and then adulthood, you will begin to recognize the entire perspective, because you can only learn the lesson when you begin to recognize the entire perspective. Your perspective, the person who is interacting with you's perspective, and how God was present in that moment. How did he show up? Confirmation. How did he show up? What blessing? Or those of you that prefer the word blessing, did you gain from that experience? Now, I didn't tell you to find a memory that was memorable, that made you feel good, no. I didn't tell you that route. And the reason I didn't tell you that route is because I want you to go back to your beginnings. So whatever information you have from your beginnings, right? Because it is only from there you can re-jog your memory, right? Re-jog your memory to then continue to the next memory that comes to you and the next one that comes to you. Yes, there will be gaps. There will be seasons you don't even remember anything about, right? But that's because that's not what you need to connect with right now. What you need to connect with right now is what is being given to you from inside. You can even go as far as connecting the dots as to how those early memories connect to your adolescence and connect to your adult life and where you were and where you are now and what God did for you. Do you understand? In that activity, that intentional connection, you will be able to have overwhelming gratitude. Do you want to know why? Because as humans, we tend to just remember the negatives. Why? Because we are exposed by so much negativity. Many of us did not have the blessing of being validated and given affirmation and encouragement in our lives. And this is because this requires effort. Because this is not the norm. This is not even made available in certain cultures, right? And although some of us apply these methods of encouraging our children and affirming them every day, not just by their appearance, but by their intelligence and by their talent and by their personality and by their connection to God and so forth, right? Not everyone is as fortunate. And so as we learn better, we do better. And those of you that beg to differ and say, no, some of us learn better and we still don't do better. Because I know this person has been approached and heard these messages before and they haven't done it yet. Let me break it down for you. They haven't learned yet. Just because you hear something does not mean you learned something. This is why some of you can read an entire chapter and then say, what the hell did I just read? I didn't learn anything from that. I didn't even remember what it was about. You know, you were not focusing because you were not ready for it. Okay? And this is why some of you have to read it over and over. And some of you even go as far as not only reading it, but having it play on audio so you fully capture everything that it's meant to deliver. You understand? Now, those of you that want to learn and want to gain knowledge, you are being encouraged to learn, to discover your learning styles. Some of you are more visual. Some of you are audio learners. Some of you are hands-on. And customize that opportunity of learning towards whatever it is that you feel that you are being called to utilize to help you to evolve, to benefit you and your future generations. I encourage and I push spirituality because that is what I'm called to do. But my push is confirmation, y'all. Y'all heard that right. What I was about to say after that confirmation is my pushes are gentle. I always remind you, take what you want and leave the rest. Now, some things that you would never consider to do today, right? 5 years later, you may find yourself doing it. The seed was planted. Do you understand? I'll give you an example. I recall a couple of years ago, literally, I attended a women's retreat, right? And that is confirmation. The theme was in relation to empowerment, right? Not so much spiritually focused, but empowerment. You know, those of us that were in the direction of small businesses, it gave us an opportunity to network and to introduce our services and to get to know others on a more personal level, which gave us an understanding of how is it that I can collaborate with this business or this person, especially when your personalities are in unison, so to speak. But during that retreat, I was still in the mindset of pushback, so to speak, in certain areas related to spirituality, mostly because of my religious background and how I was raised, right? So there were certain things that were introduced to me in relation to healing methods and specifically emotional healing that I never participated in. And I said, nah, I'll just sit back for this one. I'll just be a spectator right now, you know. And what I appreciated is the fact that that was okay too. See, we need to not only utilize the word respect, but implement it in our connections. And so what I was willing to participate in, whether it was a game we played or some type of, you know, fun activity, like in this team against this team, and, you know, there was yoga, there was so much going on. We participated in bingo, well, different games. Different games were played. We were offered healthy, and I'm talking healthy. I'm talking no grease, no fat, healthy nutrition, okay, for the days that we were there, smoothies and so forth. It was worth the investment I made for myself. And although I do not believe that all these retreats are similar and genuine in that respect, I will say there are some, yes, there are some that are healing and that you can network with and really connect with some good people. I'm telling you. Because I'm saying this was a couple of years ago, people. And all of these women, I still respect today. Am I in connection with most of them? No, I am not. And that is because people grow apart and so forth. But I still remember the lessons that were introduced to me. As a matter of fact, it was through that retreat that I won a prize and got an opportunity to have a life coach. Let me tell you, it was God sent. Because I've been postponing it and postponing it but I wanted it. I wanted to experience what it was like to have a life coach. And she gave me a couple of weeks, and I really did benefit from it. And it did leave an imprint on my life. You know what I'm saying? So all this to say is you need to recollect all these memories of kindness and opportunities that were given to you, favors that were given to you, and have gratitude. Now, one of the other things that I am so thankful that I got to do in my lifetime is being introduced to a method. I can use the word activity, an activity that brought a lot of love. You know, that's the best way that I can say it. A lot of love. And the activity that was introduced to me was for me to reconnect with the memories of who was there for me, right? In my childhood, who was there, you know, and how were they there? What did they do, right? I recall the first person who ever took me to the theater to see the Nutcracker, right? The first person who built a snowman with me, right? As a child. The first person who showed me how to do snow angels on the ground, you know, in the snow. And different things took me to, I believe it was called Botanical Garden. And like there was so many cultural things and artistic things that we experimented together. And the fact that she wasn't even a parent but she was family. And she took it that far and engaged me in these different things. She was the first person that taught me how it is you make a friend. And I believe I was just 4. Just 4. And believe it or not, I remember. I was just 4. And she introduced me to my neighbor and said, "This is your neighbor, and I want you to make your first friend. So I want you to tell the neighbor what your name is, and I want you to be friends." And as simple as it is, that's a very cute memory to have. Now, I probably had friends at 3 or 2 because I was always around others, because my family is very connected, and our friends are like family, because it's like their friends knew them since childhood, and here it is in married life, they're still there. And some of them, they end up staying even till it's the last goodbye. And that's why majority of the friends that I keep are the ones that knew me from day one, right? The real ones. And I had the opportunity to write her a letter and say, "Thank you. I remember when you did this with me. I remember when you did." And as I wrote it, people, there were tears of joy, right? It is a beautiful thing to experience tears of joy. Not just tears of sadness, but tears of joy and appreciation. Because those opportunities of me reconnecting and having gratitude and understanding how it connected with today and who I am and why I have certain likes and certain hobbies and certain interests and certain ways of interacting with others and how I select my friends and how, it started from the beginning. And I'm positive when she read that, I'm positive she had some tears. But again, it was tears of joy. And that's something I'm sharing with you today in case you've never had that high of experiencing tears of joy, right? Don't be so close-minded that you don't allow yourself to explore everything that would raise your vibration. Confirmation, raise your vibration in some shape or form. There is no need to be serious 24/7. There is no need to be grouchy 24/7. I'm saying this because there are those that are. I'm saying this because that is very sad. This is why we need balance. There's a time to be angry. a time to feel offended, a time to be sad, just like there's a time to be happy, content with your life. And have a natural high. You feel me? And the natural high I'm speaking of does not include the plants that we speak of. It's a natural high that comes from within, from deep in your soul. Through the process of gratitude. Because as you have gratitude, you attract gratitude. And so this is why today I can still experience tears of joy. People, I'm trying to find the words to tell y'all because there are levels to this, you know? But don't underestimate the favor of God when you invite him to help you heal all those wounds you've had from your childhood. It's not everything that happened to my childhood that was so beautiful and, memories I want to keep and relive. No, not at all. But again, the wise recall all the perspectives. They recall the environment. They recall all the people that played a role in your life. Of all of those experiences you had with God. Right? Because all of it together is what made it who you are. I remember I was transferred from one school to another school. And it's funny because the reason why I was transferred from one school to another school wasn't even legal, right? It wasn't even legal because of the fact that at the time I was born and where I was born, it was not legal to basically hit a child at school, right? Teachers were not allowed to do that. But it just so happened that the school I attended, the first school I attended in elementary school was faith-based, right? A private school, and let's just say the faculty was very much Caribbean. Y'all feel me? Okay, so I don't feel that it was too severe what I was doing. I believe I was just sharing something with someone. 6 years old, first grade. And the teacher was like, "You're not doing your work. You're talking." And I said, "No talking. Come here." And I came up to the front of the room and he's like, "Put put your hand on this desk. For real, right? And I put my hand on the desk, and he positioned my fingers in a way that my I forgot the word. My knuckles were up, right? And he slammed it with a ruler, right? This is in Brooklyn, okay? It's unheard of. And I was upset. Trust and believe. It was even in my early years that I was not okay when I felt that I was experiencing an injustice. But as much as I was not happy with the situation, I was raised to have respect, right? So although I refused to talk to him after that, because he went there and said, okay, now you need to apologize for talking in class. And I just stood there and looked at him like, wait for it. And he said, you're not going to apologize? I'm just looking at him like, wait for it. And I was put outside, had the door shut on me, stood outside for a good hour, people. No, I will not say I'm sorry for talking. I already got my lick. I didn't say that to him, but I'm thinking to myself, no, I refuse. And I brought it to the attention of my parent. I'm like, I don't want to stay in that school because they beat people there and they're not even supposed to be beat, And so I was sent to another faith-based school, and in that reintroducing myself, because these are people that I knew since preschool and then, kindergarten and first grade. So here I am introducing myself to a whole new world again, a whole new school. And I recall going to recess on the first day of school, and there were these two girls in particular that seemed friendly enough and approached me and said, do you want to be our friend? And I looked at them and I'm like, yeah, here I am standing alone. Why not? And the girl was like, okay, if you want to be my friend, mind you, we was like, 7? If you want to be my friend, you have to bring us candy tomorrow. And I'm thinking to myself, what? Yeah, you have to bring us candy tomorrow. And I was that type of child. I would go home and tell my parents everything, my day and what I experienced and how I felt. And, I had that opportunity. And if it wasn't with my mom, it was with my aunt. If it wasn't my aunt, my granddad, it was always someone there because I grew up with family. And I went home and I explained that to my mom, and she's like, no, because that is not a friend. A friend does not require for you to pay them to be your friend. And so I want you to go home and, go to school tomorrow and tell them that no, I'm not going to give you any candy to be my friend. You don't have to be my friend because that's not a real friend. And I remember the next day I went to school and I told these two girls, that one girl in particular, but they were always together. No, I don't have candy for y'all. Y'all don't have to be my friend. It's all right. And the other girl was like, you can still play with us. That's how it went. It wasn't like, okay, well, you didn't give it to us. Okay, so we're not friends. No, you could still play with us. Would you believe? I'm not even going to tell you how many decades later. Okay. The only reason I found myself on Facebook is because I was literally forced into it, because I really didn't like how can I say this? The lack of privacy, I didn't really feel the need for everyone to know who you know and who I know. And, I don't like gossip. I don't like groups. So it's not for me. Right. But a cousin came over and basically told me, you don't have a choice. We need you on there because this is how we connect. We're spread around the world and we want you to be able to be aware of like what's going on in our lives. And I'm going to create a page for you regardless. And this and that. And, sometimes I'm like, I wish I didn't do it. To be honest with y'all. But there are other times I'm like, I did have the opportunity to have a voice. And so that was the reason why social media was introduced to me. But as I was saying, several decades later, I was like, who am I going to be connecting with besides my cousins? Like, the friends that I have, I talk on the phone with, and there's no need for all of this stuff. So then I began to go back to my childhood and say, I wonder how so-and-so's doing. How so-and-so's doing. How so-and-so's doing. And I found myself, searching for them. Would you believe I found both of those girls? And it was so funny how I sent her a message in Messenger and said, you probably don't remember me, but I'm that girl that you said that needed to bring you candy She's like, of course I remember you. And we reconnected. She's very, she's very successful, we don't have to go into details, but yes, she made it far in life. And, the other friend that was there too, and from that, obviously I grew in friendships and, had a lot more friends. And so I connected with all of those other friends too that I knew since elementary school. And this is why one of the reasons that, some of them, I still get to see how they're evolving and growing. And there's a respect I have for them. And there's a respect they have for me. There are certain boundaries I don't cross. And there are certain boundaries they don't cross. But all that experience developed who I am today. This means when I make friends, I don't pay you to be my friend. Do you understand? Relationship/friendship must come genuinely. If I have to, pay you by give you what you want or do what you want, and if I don't want to do it, but I have to do it. No, I learned since 7 years old what a friend is, what the boundaries are, and the real ones stay. You feel me? And this is why I always encourage y'all to connect with your kids, because a lot that you think they don't hear and they don't see, please believe me, they are hearing and seeing more than you think. So allow yourself to have the experience of going back, recall those lessons that you learned and, those favors that you experienced and the patterns that you witnessed, and ask God and your spiritual support team to guide you in the proper directions that you need to take in order for that journey in, memory lane can also offer you needed inevitable healing. And I put it that way because today you're mature, right? You're no longer a child. And so you have the opportunity to reparent your inner child and make sense in what didn't make sense, and let go of what needs to be let go of, right? And see clearer that there were good times too. People, there were. If you forgot, let me be the one to tell you. There were good times too. And I know this for certain. Because if there weren't good times too, you would not have what it took to carry on and be here today. You would have given up on life long time ago. And that's just the real. Okay? Balance is what keeps us here. When life comes to you in the direction of a downward spiral, and it doesn't get better, it's nothing but the strength of God. And y'all better hold on to God, people. Learn how to hold on to God. Because it's nothing but the strength of God that can help you to push on. I pray that all of you have something to live for. Primarily yourself. I used to be one of those that would say, oh, I have to live for my child. It was after my healing. And let me reiterate that. Healing is a lifelong process. Because as I've shared with you before, you may be healed today, and tomorrow you experience a trigger. And in recovery jargon, we can use the term got off track. That's not the word I wanted to use, but the one I wanted to use didn't come to me. There's a term for that. It could be it's similar to the word regression, like when you go backward, right? But there are efforts that we are being taught and being made available to us. There are resources. Because recovery is not only in relation to drugs, like the stereotype. It could be recovery from past hurts, recovery from anger towards yourself. Some of us felt angry towards ourselves because we allowed ourselves to be in certain situations that were disrespectful to us and dishonored us. And it took steps towards going back from childhood to see how that connects to adulthood, to understand the patterns of reoccurrence, to desire a solution and to implement it in our lives. It's all connected. So you need to remember when it was that you were taught that it was okay to hold on to a relationship or friendship, whatever term you prefer to use, that was not for your highest good. And then you need to reparent yourself and say, yes, you did that then because you didn't know better. That lesson wasn't introduced to you yet. But this is the proper way to do it. And so I'm releasing that old way of doing it. Right now, I'm choosing for myself to have healthy relationships. To only have genuine people in my circles. To not feel that I need to always say yes to every request. It's okay to say no. You want to go there? No. You want to do this? No. Even as a couple. One person may say, yeah, I want to do this. I want to go to, for example, a sports game. And you have no interest in that game. Okay. And that person's like, yeah, I want to go there. Let's go together, blah, blah, blah. You can go. Or you can say no. It's that simple. And those of you that are favored enough to have someone in your life that understands you and wants to work with you, right? You guys know how to develop a plan that will work. Meaning, babe, I want you to accompany me to do such and such, whatever. And if I know this person is not interested, for example, I'm attending a lecture and that subject area is not of interest, I'm thinking to myself, nah, that's not the right example, because I would not even request that of someone if I knew you didn't want to do something. I would not request that of you. That's who I am. But if it was somewhat of a compromise that sometimes he liked it, sometimes he didn't like it, I would say, listen, you could come, you could play games on your phone when you get bored. You could give different things that could get done. You can step outside when you want. I just don't want to be alone. It's a long drive and I want you to drive me back home, or whatever the case is. I don't know. You know your own lives, your own circumstances, your own situations, And hopefully those of you that are connected with someone that has similar interests, because you will enjoy that partnership much better when you have similar interests. When someone told me that when I was a teenager in a youth group, that the person that you marry needs to be somebody that has the same vision that you have for your life. And it didn't make too much sense to me then, because I was too young to grasp the meaning. Today, confirmation. Today, it makes perfect sense. And, yeah, it really is a benefit to have things in common, to be connected to a point where you can communicate with or without words. To hear a form of communication and understand what is between the lines and what is really being said. How this person is trying to protect you in some way. And when to say, listen, you could be honest with me. I want your honest opinion. Right? It's okay. I'm not going to feel a way about it, but it might help me to gear things a different way. You understand? It's like when you are in a relationship, you need to learn how to be sensitive to each other's needs and be able to sense each other's receptive natures. Is this making my partner feeling good? Am I noticing tension? And all that requires experience. And the experience is gained when you are mindful enough to recognize the patterns and the changes in your life and how things have developed in a positive way or in a way that needs more work, right? And that's okay. When you're a team, you work together And it doesn't even feel like effort, because you have gratitude for one another, right? You protect each other. You don't just say you love the person, you act on it. In fact, when the person says, I love you, you feel it. I don't know how else to explain it, but you feel it. It's real. You know? And when you say it, they feel it. And you could even sense that they appreciate it. They have gratitude for it. It's a beautiful thing. Gratitude. It's a beautiful thing. You know? Because there are a number of factors in relation to how we interact with others, right? And what goes on and so forth. But one thing we never forget is how the person made us feel. Let me tell you something. That could make you or break you. If you had an experience with someone that made you feel loved, protected, encouraged your strengths, nurtured you by giving you affirmations, not by requests, just by connection. Babe, you're so smart. Or you do something that is impressive in your partner's eyes, and you know, that's my lady. As small as those things seem, you remember how the person made you feel. You remember how you had a bad day and you went to the person and you said, I had a bad day today. And you went on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And the person just listened. Listened attentively. That's all it took. And then, I'm sorry you had a bad day today. We're going to make it better, this evening. I'm going to cheer you up. When you have gratitude towards one another, you recognize each other's love languages. You do not have to even communicate. Oh, this is my love language. I'm physical. Or this is my love language. I love affirmation. Or this is my love language. I love when people buy me things. No. Did I say no? When it's natural, it happens. And what I've learned is it's best not to say, this is what you prefer, and this is what you prefer, and this is what you prefer. Because when you do that, people wear hats and they know how to act, right? And later on, you discover it was all an act. And this is why you should pay attention. Pay attention to how you feel. Not to what the person bought for you, not to where the person took you, not, you know what I'm saying? Because that's the shallow route. But then again, I'll tell you, take what you want and leave the rest. Because that same person can do all of that for you. But the concentration needs to be the foundation. Because when someone shows you who they are, it does not matter what they do tomorrow, because you saw who they were. It doesn't matter how much, I'm sorry, I changed, I was wrong, I don't do that no more. Some bridges get burned. And even though the person may have released whatever it is that was dishonorable, that person remembers how you made them feel. And that person has a responsibility to honor themselves, respect themselves, and make the best decisions for themselves. And that wisdom is gained from the gratitude for tears of joy. You feel me? Some things have no words to express them. But they feel like home, like love, like God's will. So, I'd like to continue by suggesting that you can take what you want again and leave the rest. But I am suggesting that you begin gratitude by giving anyone you choose. It could even be a stranger on the road. It could even be your pet dog. Anyone you choose. A form of gratitude today. Whether it is thank you for XYZ or a compliment. But take a baby step. Right? And understand that sometimes you give it and you won't receive it. And that's okay. It's okay because we don't give to receive from man. We give to align ourselves with the karma of giving. Because as you give, you receive. Not necessarily from the person you gave. But please believe me when I say, I don't know how to express this. Because I'm not trying to burst any eardrums today. Please believe me when I say, y'all ready? When you give, you will receive. Confirmation. Love that. When you plant a seed, it will harvest. Yes. People in ways you can't explain. In ways that you have to zip your mouth and keep to yourself. Just know that there is benevolence in this universe. In fact, there is benevolence in this multiverse. That God is good, people. Pay attention. Confirmation. God is good. Everything happens for the benefit of all. Wherever you are today, please know, even if you are in the valley, there are lessons being learned. There are opportunities for you to develop. There are stages where you will grow. You can co-create moments, seasons, stages of elevation. But you must start with the first baby step. Even if the compliment is to yourself. Even if you pat yourself on the back and say, you did a good job today. Girl, you did a good job. I think there's a meme like that, or a TikTok or whatever it is. Girl, you did a good job. You know? But don't forget others. But don't forget yourself. Learn to routinely compliment your smallest achievements to your biggest achievements. And have gratitude for how you've grown. What you've learned. How you can teach and leave legacies. Have gratitude for opportunities. As we near the closing, I'd also like to remind you, it's okay to say thank you. Let me tell you something. There's certain cultures, and I'm saying this because I know, okay? I only speak of what I know. There are certain cultures that don't believe in thank you. Okay? They just don't. Confirmation. They just don't. And I think a better way of presenting this is to utilize the term subculture. I think that would only be fair, because balance is the key. And there are those that develop themselves, and there are those that remain stagnant. But there are certain subcultures that don't believe in thank you. It doesn't matter what the person did for them. Oh, they owed me that. They lucky I was their friend. Oh, do you know who I am? I lowered my standard for this person. Oh yeah, there are people that go there. Especially those that use others. They get reality checks later. But you know, they try. But it's okay to say thank you. I make that a habit, whether it is to a child. Yes, I have the right to tell you to go pick this up for me from this table and bring it to me on this sofa. Yes, you are supposed to obey me. Yes, by saying thank you, I am teaching you how to say thank you. Yes, you are a child. Yes, you are under my authority. But there are times when I'm sorry is appropriate. Do you feel me? The hesitation in not showing up in the capacity confirmation, in the capacity that you are being called to evolve in, is burning bridges. Because there are times you don't say thank you. And come back in need. When the bridge was already burned. There are times when you don't give back in any capacity. There are so many ways to give back. But yes, people, you must give back. Whether you think they are well-to-do and they can afford it, you must give back. When you don't give back, you lessen your opportunities of receiving when you're in need. There is not one agency that hasn't assisted me in some shape or form that I haven't given back to. Not one. Because I understand that energy is exchanged. And as I give, I receive. And as they give, I receive. You see how it works? So, stealing, mistreating, exploiting, cursing, belittling, rejecting, will not get you anywhere. Because those are all in a low vibrational state of mind. And the ones who have to give, and we are not speaking of a moment of giving. I mean, the stability of giving. There's a difference. Because some people who still have enough to give in a season. Confirmation. And then there are those that give all the time. That always. Did I say always? Let me say it one more time. Always receive from places they would never even imagine, from people they didn't even know was thinking about them, from strangers that they don't even know. God has a way of intervening in your lives when you invite him to do so. Confirmation. Yeah, I know y'all love these confirmations. You must invite him. Okay? Invite him and pay attention. Everything else will come into place. After putting in the effort and maintaining the effort of trying to develop an attitude of gratitude, making attempts to master the lesson of gratitude. Watch what develops in your life. Relax, relate, and release. And you will be discovering or uncovering a different world. Now, that part of the channeling has come to an end. As I've shared before, I have a second pile that I would like to go through with you. And the first card is from the ancestors. And it says, hold us in your heart, not in your home. It's okay to declutter. That message is telling me that even as you honor your high vibrational, let's stress that part, ancestors, It's okay to take what you want and leave the rest. If there were things that were not in the direction of helping you to evolve and reaching your highest potential, it's okay to release those stagnant confirmation. It's okay to release those stagnant habits. It's okay to break those generational curses. It's okay to confirmation. It's okay to declutter your lives. Declutter your lives by removing excess. By keeping what you need, right? And releasing what you don't. Whether it is in a physical form, such as material, maybe you have things around the house that it's time to let go of. Yeah, it reminds you of Auntie so-and-so or Grandma so-and-so or Uncle so-and-so. But the message is, hold us in your heart, not in your home. It's okay to declutter. It might be on a spiritual level too. There may have been some old, how should I say this? Belief systems that are no longer valid to you. Take what you want and what? Leave the rest. You are elected to co-create your own lives. Take your positions. Stop relying on follow the leader. Get your own connection with God. And pay attention. The next card is humanity. Achieving personal growth. Building healthy community. Intellectual clarity. And connecting to higher self. It's a choice. Can I repeat that? It's a choice. Some of you are on the road of connecting to your higher selves. And some of you need a little while longer at recess. And when it is time from your co-created tentative schedules to align yourselves to your soul's purpose, that is when you will be able to achieve that. You have to be willing, not just by what you say, not just by what you do for today, but there is a measurement, a spiritual measurement that is taken. Mind, body, and soul to determine, are you ready yet? Those who know. And until you arrive to that stage of development, you will not have access to the favors of those in unison with their higher selves. Make a note of that, because that's as real as it gets. You will witness miraculous events in people's lives and question, what about me? What's wrong with me? Why am I not chosen? And when you surrender to the reality that there is no escape, no escaping this school called life. Confirmation. You will align yourself. And when I say align yourself, I mean align yourself to your destiny. Because one thing we have to learn to accept is people have destinies. And it does not matter how much effort you put in. What's meant to be will be. Respect that. What's meant to be will be. And as much as you pour into someone and you want the best for the person because you see the potential, whether it is a person, a project, what's meant to be will be. The next card is karmic release, radical transformation. That is a very clear message that as you declutter and you release all those things that are not in alignment with your highest good, you will experience radical transformation. And I stress radical because it will be made aware in everything attached to you. You will experience radical transformation. In a higher vibrational energy that attracts higher vibrational manifestations. It will be seen, heard, and evident. Next card is perspective. Right? On your journeys, remember to examine all the perspectives, because it will assist you in forming your decision making in order for you to make better choices and exercise wisdom in your life. The next card is construction of the universe. Help with great works. Protection from adversaries. So, those of you that are being called in this season, you are the trailblazers. And you are assisting with raising the vibration of the collective at large. You are being informed that you are protected from adversaries. So those moments of discouragement, doubt, misunderstanding, remind yourselves. In fact, make a note of this. Hang it up somewhere you always see it. Help with great works, protection from adversaries. Your enemies will try, but they won't succeed. It doesn't matter the attempt. It matters the victory. I recall I used to go to a church that said, say amen or say ouch. And that was so funny to me. But I feel it was appropriate. Say ashe or say ouch. And the last card for today is initiation. Those of you who have broken those generational curses have been initiated to do great works. confirmation, timely confirmation, right? You are now positioned in your calling. That's 2 confirmations, y'all. That's 2 confirmations. But as I was saying, move forward, encourage, and strength and assurance that you are right where you need to be. Right now. And embrace this moment. Because this is when you were awakened to the fact that in this present moment, thank you, God. Oh, God. The channeled message I just received was, in this present moment, you are the present. Thank you, God. I hope that touched someone today. Someone that was in doubt. Someone that was discouraged. Someone that needed confirmation. Today, in this season, you are the present. I am so thankful for this opportunity today to process with y'all. And as much as you've benefited, please believe I have. And I am also witnessing what God can do in our lives. So today's tip of the day is learn something new today. Whatever it is, whether it is big or small, learn something new today. And I'm being reminded that there were 2 numbers that were given to me that may be of significance to you and may confirm that this message indeed was your message. The numbers that I have for you today, the first one is 7. It could be something that means something. It could be a number that means something to you. It could be the month you was born. It could be whatever it is. But if you connect with it, look into it. And the next number is the number 4. Okay? So to close, I'm going to go back to my favorite quote. And y'all already know. I am who I am in the eyes of God. Nothing more and nothing less. I am who I am in the eyes of God. Nothing more and nothing less. I am who I am in the eyes of God. Nothing more and certainly nothing less. Peace.